Hello everyone, this is Johannes and you are watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and today we are taking a look at this game, if I can get it up. It's Cloudspire. This is a huge big box of a game that we are taking a look at today. I am gonna do a review for the two-player version of the game, because there are so many ways to play the game. You can play it solo, you can play it multiplayer, you can play it two-player, you can play it co-op. And we have basically, or I have basically only played it the two-player version. So I wanted to see like if this was worth it as a two-player game, because I don't play solo. I don't mind. Like I know people love solo games. I just don't like them, and that's fine. And I don't really like co-op games. I like a few, but some games like this, I like it to be a head-to-head game. Like I've been loving head-to-head games for a long time. Suno isn't the biggest fan, so this came in a bit like a strange time, because we got a review copy of this and we got it like at the beginning of the lockdown here in Norway, and we didn't really, I played with Cinema, but she wasn't the biggest fan as I would have guessed. I got it to play a couple of times, but I wanted to play it more, and that's the reason why it's a bit late. So sorry for that to the publisher, really sorry for that, but we have played it, I have played the game quite a few times now, and we are going to talk about the two-player version of the game. So, first of all, I'm just briefly going to say what you're doing in this game, because there is a lot of rules which we are coming to soon. Basically, this is a tower defense kind of area game. Think if you have played any video games, or if you played any video games, you won't know this, but think if you have played like League of Legends or Dota, these kind of games, which is like a hybrid of just minions going from one tower to the next and trying to kill the other people's fortress, which is basically what you're doing in this game. So you have a map, I haven't laid it out completely, you're going to have more of these around this middle piece, and you are going to use these different monsters to move around. They're going to have some health points, and they are going to move around the board. You have some heroes, which you can basically decide where they're going to move and how they're going to move, and you also have minions, which are basically kind of moving by themselves. You can do some choices, but they have a goal and need to go towards that goal. And then you're going to attack people. Most of the time, you're just going to see how much attack there is, and you're going to attack that, and people are going to retaliate and attack back. When there's a fortress, or I mean a tower, because you have some tower defense in there as well. When you have a tower, when they attack you, you're going to roll some tower defense or some tower dice, and they're going to decide how much attack or how much life you lose. That's kind of more random element. And you also have this fortress board, which you can upgrade at the beginning of each turn. You can buy new mercenaries, which will be more units or maybe towers that you can spend and use during the game, and you will find different landmarks, which will be different enemies you can fight to get relic cards. There's just so much stuff going on in this game, but that is basically the gist of the overview, high overview of what you are doing in the game. So we are looking at quite a few things here today. We are going to start by looking at the rules, because you need rules for games, and this is a big game. This is a big game with many rules. So let's take a look at the rulebook. I'm going to find it here. I have it here. This is the rulebook to Cloudspire. It's called version 1.0. It is 33 pages long, and it's basically, all of it is basically rules. And there is a lot of them, and there is a lot of text, and there is a lot of things, and it's very hard to understand, because there are so many details in this game. This is a game where you have to, and I'm very happy about it, that it's very simple to find what you're looking for, because most of the things we've been looking for or wondering how it worked, which was a lot, you just Google it, a question and Cloudspire, and they have written an article on it on their website. So I'm guessing if there's I know there's a new printing, I think, with new Kickstarter, and it gets a new rulebook. I hope they have fixed some of that. Not that it's a bad rulebook, it's just that there is a lot of stuff, and it's very hard to remember. It's very hard to understand everything, because there's just so much of it. Like really, that is the biggest, I would say, like that's the biggest problem in this game. Like the barrier of entry to this game is enormous, and that is both because of the rulebook, because there's a lot, and also because of playtime, which we're going to talk about a bit later. But this is a beast of a rulebook. I would say that it's an okay rulebook, but we had a lot of questions, because, for example, about movement, we had so many questions about movement. How does the movement for minions work? How does this work? How does that work? So many questions that we needed to check out online and check how they work. So I would say that the rulebook is okay. It would have been easier to get into the game if the rulebook was better, but the rulebook is fine. So let's talk about the actual game components, because that is where this game really shines. I remember seeing this at Spiel last year. I was like, wow, look at this. How is this possible? How can a game be this beautiful? And you look at the price and you say, okay, it's pretty expensive game. But if you've seen this game and you see the price, you know why you're paying that price. For the first thing, everything is neoprene mats. The game is neoprene mats. Like, that is amazing. This is really cool. Everything else, except for some dice, everything else is basically poker chips. As you can see here, poker chips for the landmark, poker chips for the mercenaries that you can buy, poker chips for every single faction has their own poker chips, and a little tray here to put them in. You have all of these chip theory games trays where you put all of your things. You have huge player mats in great quality. They are thin, but they are very good quality. And also, you get a deck box. I haven't seen many games that has a deck box. And when you look at these cards, it's just amazing. These cards are plastic cards. So basically, this is almost a game you could play in the shower if you have a big shower and you just really want to play Cloudspire all the time. Look at these cards. Look at this. I'm going to bend this card now. I'm bending the card. Nothing happens. It's as fine as it was. Like, nothing happens. It's impossible to destroy this card. You cannot tear them. It's really impossible to destroy these cards. I don't know why you would want to bend the cards. I don't know why you would want to destroy them, but I really enjoy that this is basically, it just fits. It would be strange with normal cards, but everything else is so beautiful and everything else works really well. So I cannot say anything else than really positive thing about the components. One thing, these are really boring. Like, this feels like the old Pog, like the boring slammers that you had with Pogs if you ever played that as a kid. These are a bit more cheap plastic. The health, you can buy like an upgrade, so if you want to bling out the game, you can also buy big 3D sculptures that you use for the towers. We don't have that, we only have the base game for this. So these are kind of like cheaper, but I don't really mind. It doesn't affect gameplay at all. So, playtime and player count. I have played 2 players, as I already say, that is what I'm going to focus on in this video. But this is a long game. This is a very long game. Especially since you'll have to go a lot online and check your rules. So it will go down if you play it more. But go, if you want to see like a playthrough, go and check Paul Grogan. He did a few playthroughs of this, and those are long, like 4 hours plus. And I've played this game quite a few times, and it's always like, if nobody's just like doing some big mistakes and somebody's winning really early, the games are usually 3 to 4 hours long, which is long. Like, that is a long 2-player game. It's hard to find time to play a 2-player game that's 3 to 4 hours long. And that is like the 2 biggest weakest points about this game, is that the rules are hard to get into and the game is very long. So I don't really know what else to say about that. Like, if you're looking for content though, if you are a solo player, you have so much stuff to do here. This is a big book of solo scenarios. This book is 83 pages long. You have so much stuff here, so many scenarios, so much to do. If you enjoy playing co-op, you also have so much stuff to do. 50 pages of solo cooperative scenarios. So this is one of those games that, if you love it, and if you're willing to spend loads of time in this game, you're gonna get your money's worth. Because it's an expensive game, but you have like so much stuff to go through. And that is like the biggest positive again. But we are looking at this as a 2-player game. We know that, of course, as a 2-player game, you can also play the co-op. But the co-op thing was, we tried that, or we played, actually, I think we tried one of the solo scenarios. I felt like having 2, and in co-op you have to you have all the 4 factions. I think that's a lot of stuff. That is a lot of stuff to keep track of. I feel like when I'm playing this game, because the game is very complicated, or there's a lot of things to remember, and I feel like when you play that solo, the solo mode that we tried, that you have to be in a faction that you're not playing. You just have to read stuff and remember what to do and remember the movement, and there's just a lot of added extra things that you have to think about. And with the co-op game, where you basically have 2 players playing and the 2 other factions are also in the game, there's going to be a lot of overhead, a lot of things going on. Oh, there is a lot to say about this game. Let's talk about the gameplay. So I have said a lot of the negative things that I think about the game. Mostly that is the rules and the length of play. And I think this game, obviously we're going to say the thing that that's the same for every single game. This game isn't for everybody. And we saw that. I was hoping Suna would like it because she liked some of these games. Wasn't for her, but that's just basically the genre. That she said, oh, it's a solid game, I understand it's good, but it's the genre. I know people love this game, I know people hate this game. I looked at it and I thought I would like it. I thought I would like it a lot. And I do. I think this is very fun. The times I played it, I have been enjoying myself for the whole 3-4 hours. I haven't really been feeling it's dragging. It is annoying to have to check rules. I was like, oh, how did that work again? So if you're not like super strict that you have to do everything correctly, some movement rules, for example, you'll say like, oh, I'm pretty sure it was you have to move here now, especially the minions, because they have so many rules for how they works, and that is kind of annoying, but it is a very good game. I would say that. I would say it's a very good game. The things you have to think about, the planning, the strategy, the tactics is very nice. At the beginning of each round, you are basically buying new minions to put on the board and new heroes that you can put on the board, and you have to stack them. So you can stack 2 of these together, for example, with 3 health, and when these move and when one of them die, the other one just continue going. That might be something you'd like to do. Or you could make like a different pile so they can move, one of them can move by itself and the other can move by itself, and there's just so many things to think about, and it's a lot. Like this is one of the player boards. I realize now it's the wrong one, but it's one of them because we're not going to play the game. So that's just how it's going to be. And these are all the abilities for the fortress, for the heirs. And those are different than the ones for the other factions. And also you have all of the talents, which is basically keywords, which is a different ability. And most of these are different. Some of them, like range or flying, are the same for all the factions that have them. But other than that, they are different, and you have to remember that. So before you're playing this game, you will have to sit and read your whole sheet to be able to actually play the game any good. And there's so much stuff to remember. There is so many things. Like, you will obviously do mistakes. You will obviously be a player that you will obviously, if you played it before, you most likely will win because you know what happens. You know the feel of the game. You know how these abilities are more important than the other abilities. And all of that makes it like a very hard game to get into. So, do I like this game? Yes, I do. I like the way it makes me feel. It makes me feel that kind of fun way. And it's kind of slowed down when we have to check rules, but it makes me feel happy. It makes me have a lot of fun. This is a big, complex, head-to-head game, but it feels so nice. It feels like a fun experience. So I would guess, like, if I had not this channel, if I had a player that really liked this game and he could play it a couple of times a month or more, like maybe once a week, this would have been an amazing game, because this is a game that if you give it time, if you devote your time to it, it will be better and better and better every time you play it. And it's my feeling after my plays of it, because it has gotten better after those plays, because you understand more of the rules, you don't have to check rules more often, and that's the case for every game, but this has a lot of it, and that is why I'm highlighting it, because this game has a steep learning curve. This is a game where you should probably, like most of the time when we play for review, let's say for example Rising Sun, there's 7 factions. I would like to play different one each time. Here in this game you should probably play each of them 2, 3, 4 times and then go to the next one. And that is how you get better at the game, and that is how you will get more enjoyment out of this game. So I will say that this is a very fun game. I've had a lot of good time with it, but it's a game that isn't going to be for everybody. It's going to be hard and pull high rising curve. That's another game. So let's do some final thoughts. I think you know where I'm going. I think this is a solid game. I think if you are a normal consumer of board games, if you buy a game and you know that you usually play it 1, 2, maybe 5 more, no more than 10 times, I don't think this game is for you. I think it's too expensive for that. I think this is a game that you will have to see, maybe demo it, maybe watch some playthroughs. Again, Gaming Rules have some very nice ones, and see, oh, this is for me. And if you see that and you will feel that this is a game I can devote my time to, either if you play solo, if you play co-op, or if you want to play 2-player or multiplayer, then this is a very good game. If you want to play it a lot of times and get into it and learn the factions and get better at the factions, then this is a game where you can get so much replayability and so much stuff out of it. This is one game that I want to keep because I like the idea of playing it. I don't know if I will get to play it again, but it's one that I really want to play again because I've had a lot of fun when I played it. So I'm going to give it a 7 I think it's a very good game, but there's a lot of things taking it down, like the rules and a very steep learning curve, and the playtime, of course, is harder to. I'm not taking it down because of playtime, but it's harder to get to the table because of that. So that is my short review of Cloudspire from Chip Theory Games. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Johannes, and you've been watching Board Gaming Ramblings, and bye bye.